Welcome, one and all, to World in a Jar. We're your hosts, Kyoko and Vale. Our goal is to take a word, concept, or idea and spin it into a story. Be it a character, NPC, group, city, you name it. And thus, those ideas we create become our World in a Jar. Of course, they won't all fit in the same jar, so our selection is constantly growing every week. With many spices to choose from, locations, genres, heroes, villains, and tropes, we hope to give you a jar full of fun and interesting concepts. But first, how you doing, Vale?
I am doing good.
Nice.
I'm chilling in the World in a Jar recording. I've got my tea.
Ooh, which tea
Life
are you
is
drinking?
good right now. My favorite one so far, the Warlock's Warning from Lucky Leaf Teas.
Nice. I unfortunately did not have time to make tea, so I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper.
Surely one of the 23 flavors has got to be tea.
You right. No, I love Dr. Pepper.
I hear tea is an ingredient in Coca-Cola.
Yes.
I think that was something that was told to me years ago, and I just accepted it into my life and didn't actually fact check it. like many things you see on the internet.
Valid.
How are you doing, Kyoko?
I'm pretty good. I got a lot of sleep. Don't know if I really feel rested or not, because but I'm feeling pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. I hosted an event at a local high school yesterday for Japanese storytelling, so that was really fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
We really did need Japanese in our high school.
Yeah,
like Japanese 1 and 2.
I pushed for it so hard. There were they weren't teachers, but there were 2 staff members. I think one of them was a teacher, but I know that they were both considered staff. That had lived in Japan for over 20 years and were pretty much fluent in Japanese. And they had both offered to teach Japanese, but the school said, no, we don't need that. Even after the Russian teacher retired.
Gosh.
I know, right? Imagine how much better my Japanese could be right now if I had taken Japanese in high school.
One of the reasons I didn't go into the Russian class, though, is because I knew one of our most hated enemies was also taking Russian.
Yeah, I was better at it than he was, though, so he could... Chris, bleep that out, please. That was very impulsive. Bleep
Chris,
that out.
cut that out right now.
Cut it out. Cut it out, Chris.
Chris, we gotta tell Chris he's gotta record his reaction to that before he gets to editing the episode.
Him and I have talked about us telling him to cut stuff out before. It's so funny.
What did he say?
He's just every time you guys tell me to cut it out, Chris, he's just God, Mom, I will. It's just okay. It's so funny. Oh my god.
We need to come up with new and interesting ways to make Chris's editing job a fun one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So what are we doing today?
We're doing our tried and true roll for a class.
We have a lot of class, and we're going to be rolling for classes.
Do I have a lot of class? I'm wearing what I call my fuckboy fit today.
You are probably classier than me, who's just wearing a Pikachu t-shirt.
Valid. I am wearing a button-up that is considered slightly
But-
classier.
But on the screen, you can only see the tip of Pikachu's tail.
Oh,
They would have never known.
exactly. You gave the secret away. We needed to ask our viewers who's that Pokemon. It's Pikachu!
It's Pikachu! Chris, cut that out.
Alright, so as for classes we have left to do, we have Warlock, Monk, Rogue, Sorcerer, Wizard, Fighter, Druid, and Ranger. That's 7 classes, but since there's no D7, we have a D8.
Keep in mind, we're saving Barbarian
We are saving Barbarian. We're saving it for Editor Chris.
for Editor Chris. Man, I can't wait for that episode, too. We get to have Chris tell Chris to cut that out.
Me, cut that out. Cut that out, me. Alright. Rolling the D8. It's a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fighter!
Okay, I'm sorry, chat. Or not
Chat? We're on Twitch, guys.
So, Chris edited a Twitch overlay. No, I muted my mic on OBS to take a drink, and then I just started talking instead of drinking. So what you guys missed was I was like, not all Final Fantasy characters are just fighters. There's like Locke from Final Fantasy VI and Riku from Final Fantasy X.
And
I just don't know Final Fantasy VII that well.
I do.
They were both rogues.
That is very valid. Yeah. Like, if you think of, like, I'm thinking back to, like, older Final Fantasies. If you think of, like, Kain from Final Fantasy IV, he's definitely, like, a fighter, kind of. The Dragoons are an interesting sort of thing. Cecil was a paladin, so...
I really want to see D&D take on the Dark Knight class from Final Fantasy. We don't get to see it very often, but it really is a cool concept, and I want to see, like, not like Oathbreaker Paladin, but like a Paladin focused on I mean, maybe it could be just Blood Hunter. Maybe Blood Hunter fits that role, but I'm also thinking like a Paladin that focuses on debuffs and whatnot.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I don't know, cause like it would be interesting to balance it with like the magic classes that handle debuffs.
Mhm.
Or that can handle debuffs, aka Cleric and Bard.
Oh man, I was building a 20th level cleric, and I didn't know. I knew the cleric had so many spells, I just didn't know they could do whatever they wanted. Damage, debuff, buff, heal. Clerics can do it all.
Yeah, they can do it all. Why don't bards get haste?
No kidding.
Naturally. They don't get haste.
No kidding.
But yeah.
Chris, edit in haste into the bard's spell list.
I need to tell. Speaking of bards, this is very much an aside, but I need to sit down with Crow and talk about his bard for my rebellion campaign.
Oh shoot. Could Crow's bard be there instead of his cleric?
Yeah, Crow's playing an
And,
eloquence bard that's studying directly under Mithra.
Let's make Crow play 2 characters at the same time.
You know what? He could. He absolutely could.
He could.
But either way, let's make these fighters.
Yeah. I can hardly see on my laptop because it's so far away. It's holding my webcam, so I've moved to my phone for the randoms.
That is very, very smart. That is a very good idea.
So who's going first?
I don't think I have a coin to flip right here. Give me 1 second. While I attempt to find...
Hold on, I got a coin.
Oh.
Let me do it this time.
Yeah, you
We're
do.
changing things up a little bit. Wait, where'd my coins go? I was cleaning my room, and I had like 3 coins in my pocket, and they're all gone.
Oh no.
I'll roll a d6. Who are you, high or low?
Be high.
2. I'm going first.
All right.
This is a weird one for a fighter. Behavior and meaning.
Ooh.
So we could go anywhere with behavior. Bad behavior, good behavior. What if this fighter's been to prison but got out on good behavior?
Look at you making criminals. Criminal wizard, criminal fighter.
Criminal. I mean, if you're breaking out of prison, you might want a fighter on your side. Like maximum security prison, you got a 20 level fighter with 4 attacks, just beating the crap out of every guard.
Jesus Christ.
While you're like unlocking the rest of the crew. It's like a whole like Ocean's 11 party.
The fighter's just soloing the guards.
Soloing the warden.
Yeah.
While you recruit more allies. And then meaning
could mean anything.
Yeah, it could mean anything. I think it's a good idea for them to be searching for meaning in their life.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to figure out what, like, because if we're going with they're searching for their meaning in life, I feel like a good, like, source of conflict is what they realized their meaning isn't.
Yeah.
So, like, they've had a past. They thought their lot in life was to do this. I mean, it does go hand in hand with them being in jail. Like, I thought I was cut out for these heists, but now that I've served time and seen the ugly side of the world, I need to find a new meaning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or it could even be like before they went to prison, they ran with like the wrong group of people, like a mafia or a mob or a cult or something like that.
And they can still have like the proficiencies in like sleight of hand and stealth. It could be interesting if this character was in a party with the rogue, because they're like, yeah, I'm good at it. I'm probably not as good as you.
Yeah. We'll have to build this rogue for the rogue episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like that.
So they were running with the wrong crowd. What exactly was their crime? I mean, I love the grand bank heist scheme.
That's always a good one. You know, a whole, like, a heist with Markiplier sort of thing. Art theft.
Because that was one of my favorite missions in Dishonored Death of the Outsider.
Ooh.
Because for the first 2 Dishonored games, it's kind of not repetitive in style, but you're always going for an assassination target.
Mm-hmm.
And then Death of the Outsider is like a side game.
Ooh.
It probably would have been DLC, but they just published it and made it its own game, so you don't have to have Dishonored 2 to play it. It's still in the same engine, and New Game Plus, you can use the old powers.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I never thought about in the Dishonored games, man, you could really rob a bank with these magic powers. Like teleporting up to the roof, solid.
Yeah.
Having a doppelganger to distract guards, solid.
Absolutely.
Summoning a swarm of rats to eat whatever's in your way.
Thanks, Ivor.
Yeah, right. And the other power they introduced in that game, which is really good for robbing a bank, is you have the ability to steal people's faces.
Oh my god. Who invited Ko the Face Stealer?
So basically, you used your power on someone that's unconscious and not dead, and you basically create a mask in your hand that takes up your basically your hand that uses your magical abilities.
Yeah.
And you only have your normal range of motion, while it completely disguises you as that person.
Holy shit.
But that's for like a criminal wizard episode. We're talking about a criminal fighter who's bland, boring, mundane. But surely one of his or one of their party members could be like a Corvo level magical rogue.
Oh yeah. World's ultimate arcane trickster.
Right. Mark your bingo card, tangent. So they were the fall guy for the bank heist, and ended up being, and they were thrown in prison. They probably didn't have the most evidence against them because they were probably like the distraction, the meathead, the bruiser, just occupying the guards, probably getting in fistfights and whatnot.
Yeah.
While the party snuck off and actually stole the stuff. So it's easy for this character to get out like on good behavior. Because they weren't doing the seriously felonious activities.
Yeah. It could also be like that this fighter is sort of like the youngest person of their group or something like that, so they're more easily like, you know, manipulatable.
Right.
So like they felt like a sense of belonging in this group and stuff like that.
Their
things
previous
like
meaning.
Yeah, exactly.
Their previous meaning was to go with this group, but now they've seen what happens to that group and just wants to go away from it and is kind of lost right now because they don't know what they can do. It also makes me think about like when you enlist in the army as like one of those jobs that are very specific to the army and not civilian life, like bomb defusal.
Yeah.
You go back into the civilian world, you are not going to find a job that has those skills.
Yeah, exactly.
Or that needs those skills.
Unless you go into like the police force.
Right. Get on the bomb squad. But who wants to be a cop?
Yeah, honestly.
But that could go in with their sense of purpose, is that they kind of spec'd into the kind of criminal abilities like stealth, like sleight of hand. And now they don't know what to do with it because that life is not for them. And they feel like they've kind of specialized incorrectly now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so could be kind of like, could be a little bit like Cloud, like has all these big feelings and is not really voicing them, or so I hear because I haven't played Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
I've played the beginning of Final Fantasy VII, and Cloud is just like distant, just doing this eco-terrorism for the money.
Cloud does definitely have these big feelings he does not talk about. Before the canon of the remake, Cloud watched his friend die while he was suffering from materia poisoning and dying himself. And then Cloud took on his friend's identity. So
Huh.
Cloud has a lot of feelings he does not talk about.
So was Cloud his friend's name then?
No, Cloud was his name, but he took on his friend's identity of being in Soldier, being this amazing fighter that fought alongside Sephiroth and stuff like that. Yeah, Cloud, the whole thing is Cloud didn't get accepted into the Soldier program. He was too weak for it. So he was just like a regular grunt, essentially.
Mhm.
But yeah.
But yeah, this character has big feelings, is definitely a little closed off to their companions when they start finding work alongside like adventurers, and that could even play into their strengths, as like they're adventuring, they're going into a dungeon to take an evil artifact from an evil guy.
Yeah.
And then they come upon like a section of traps, and they're like, wait, I'm really good at fiddling with wires. And so it's easy to adapt into the adventuring life, but we have to hold on to their finding their purpose with the skills that they have. Of course, it's got to be kind of a long, what's it called? Extended release.
Yeah. It's a very long and arduous process.
It also would be kind of sad if someone came in with a much edgier backstory than this guy, where they're like, I robbed a bank and I got caught, so I got thrown in the slammer for a couple years, and then the vengeance paladin is like, my entire family is dead. It would be tragic.
Oh my
because
God.
This character's supposed to be like dark and brooding, and then you just get like the worst dark brooding character.
Yeah, and then you get the paladin is just like, my entire family was killed before me. I seek vengeance against the man that killed my family. And the fighter's just like, I'm so sorry.
The fighter's just like, that's rough, buddy.
That's rough, buddy. My girlfriend turned into the moon. That's rough, buddy. Yeah. So is that where you think you can like leave them off for the trope, or do you want to add anything, any other spices to this fighter?
I think that's a good place to save it for the trope. Big feelings, bad history, searching for meaning.
Yeah.
So you ready for your words?
Absolutely.
Contemporary and neighbor.
Interesting.
I have to look up the meaning of contemporary.
Yeah, honestly, I should also look up the meaning of the word contemporary. That way I'm not...
Ooh, this might tie in with my character, living or occurring at the same time.
Ooh. They were both fighters in the same party. The previous part, the like criminal party. And my criminal, my
neighbors.
They were roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
Yeah, honestly, like that's, with the word contemporary, that's a really good route to take it. It's sort of like a fun spin on our artificers.
Yeah. Except instead of the trope, it's the words.
Yeah, exactly.
We get to play with this early.
But yeah, it could be like my fighter could have been like the criminal mentor or whatever to your fighter. Um, and they let your fighter take the fall for everything. At least for, the murder and stuff like that.
Mhm.
While my fighter is still out here making bank being a criminal. But
Right.
I would say, with Neighbor, the way you can spin it is that, like, the people he lives around, like where his actual house and stuff is, they don't know that he's a criminal. So he could be like this, like, amazing, like, community member, neighbor, things like that. Like, he's really helpful to, like, his neighbors and, helps his community as much as he can. Like, that might be why he's a criminal too, stealing for his community.
Mhm.
Or at least that's how it could have started, him being a criminal, and then it just got worse and worse.
Mhm. So these are two parties in the same world, where one is the good party and one is the evil party.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, like, I imagine your fighter, like, grows and grows and grows so he can overcome my fighter, his master.
Mhm. Yeah. Or there could, like, I remember with the Dark Sun game, there was the evil party that we would intersperse slow parts of our main good party session with how the villains and our evil team was interrupting our plans before we might have even known we needed to plan for them. And so this could be like a kind of a side group where you play as the team that the good fighter in the current party was kind of talking about, mentions in passing.
Yeah.
And this party could even develop both of these fighters at the same time.
True, it could, yeah.
So yeah, I love that idea.
And I was thinking, like, I don't know, I was, like, looking at the subclasses to see what subclass my fighter could be. And honestly, I was thinking either Champion is always a good subclass to, like, fall on for fighter. But I really like Arcane Archer. I feel like Arcane Archer would be really cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I just wish there was more.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think I would want to go with Arcane Archer for this fighter. Like, they still know, of course, like, hand-to-hand combat, they can use swords and shit like that, so they can train other fighters. But their main thing is being sort of like the sniper of the group. Handling things from afar until they have to push in. And then they can be frontline fighter.
Yeah.
Like, that might be how they, like, protected their, like, community and things like that, too.
I remember playing an archer fighter, but, like, an archer fighter is still really good at, like, 2-weapon fighting and finesse weapons.
Yeah.
So they do always have a good fallback, which is what I also enjoy about fighters, is that they don't have to just rely on their specialization. They are specialists in combat.
Yeah.
They are just generally good at fighting.
They're very versatile in that regard.
And just because you get +2 to ranged attacks doesn't mean things won't get sticky and you need to pull out your scimitars.
Exactly.
You're still good at that. You still have really good bonuses. You don't really need 2-weapon fighting.
Yeah, exactly. Like, fighters have so many martial options to fall back on.
Yeah.
Just like clerics have so many arcane options to fall back on.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like that this guy's up close when I'm a ranged healer, so I'm just gonna inflict wounds.
Spiritual weapon.
Oh yeah, we need some damage and then also some healing, spiritual weapon, and then run over and cure wounds.
Banish. Just banish the enemy. But yeah, I think I'm imagining my fighter's path to be sort of the opposite of your fighter's. So your fighter started out in the criminal life and is moving towards something good and just. My fighter started out good and just, and then probably fell on hard times or like a tough situation, things like that got him mixed in with or like sort of forced to associate with the criminal life at first, and then he just fully adopted the criminal life. So they're like pure foils of each other.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where I'm gonna leave it for the trope, because I can't think of it. If I think of anything else, we'll be here forever.
Right.
Well, alright, it's trope time.
Trope time. So who's getting the first trope?
Do you want to roll again?
Yeah.
I'll take high again.
Do you want the purple die or the brown die?
Let's do the purple.
3 is low, I believe.
Yeah, 3 is low.
4, 5. Oh. Okay, so I'm going first. I could go. Oh, I could really go somewhere with this.
Ooh.
The trope is called Apologetic Attacker. Heroes are, at least for the most part, good people with clear morals. However, they also have to dish out some punishment now and again, usually directed at people who are decidedly less good and whose morals are rather lacking, so it's all good. However, some heroes may feel bad about inflicting any kind of injury on another person, no matter how deserving that person might be. Under these circumstances, the least the hero can do is let the villain know that, while they may be punching them in the face, they are at least sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Very sincerely sorry indeed. The picture is, what's this character's name? Oh no, and there's a good quote from The Princess Bride where Inigo Montoya says, "You seem a decent fellow, I hate to kill you." And then the man in black, "You seem a decent fellow, I hate to die."
Absolutely.
So this fighter has entirely given up. Like, they're good at being a fighter, but they are trying their best to even give up that path of violence. So instead of just the sneaky, underhanded skills, it's now also just fighting in general.
Yeah.
And they, push comes to shove, they will be pushing and shoving. But they won't be trying to let it come to that. They're going to be trying to assuage more than incite.
Yeah.
Which also made me think about how intimidation is probably one of their skills as well, being like a bruiser for a criminal group.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I was going somewhere with that, and then I lost the train of thought. So maybe this could be like the fighter trying to acquire new skills and either taking levels in other classes that aren't really known for fighting, or also taking new skill proficiencies, like with feats.
Yeah.
For like adding persuasion, since they're not trying to come to blows and intimidate people anymore. Oh, damn it.
Oh.
I meant to mute myself.
Oh, bless you.
Thank you. So, they have an entire crisis of identity, but they're working towards building the new identity for themselves.
Yeah. I really like that.
So sorry to multi-class on the fighter episode. But yeah, I think that's a decent place to leave it. But of course, your character and my character are intertwined, so we might learn something new about my character.
Yeah.
With your trope.
Absolutely.
Oh, I don't think I can use this trope, but we can do the classic YouTube. Please subscribe to our channel. That's one of the tropes that just came up.
Hey guys, remember to like
Yeah,
and subscribe this episode on YouTube.
Smash that like button.
Remember to shamash that like button and shamash that subscribe button.
And follow us on Spotify and Twitter.
Exactly. I am ready for my trope whenever you are.
Yeah. Your trope is how we got here.
Oh, backstory time.
A type of in medias res / whole episode flashback, where the story opens at a point in the middle or near the end of the story, and the bulk of the story is spent showing how the character got to this point.
Yeah. So, with my character, you can go multiple ways with this. You could go with how he got into the criminal lifestyle in general, and things like that. Could be like a whole Cusco thing. It's like, hey, Cusco here, you may be wondering how I got myself into this situation. There's something like that, like how he got into the criminal lifestyle. Or
Right.
it could be, my brain is imagining, I got like full anime cutscene right now. It's my fighter versus your fighter on the battlefield, like looking at each other. They're both very beat up. And then the fucking flashback starts.
Right. Oh, that could easily be worked into if we're running the two campaigns running close to the same time idea. Like, there's the moment in the main campaign where my fighter gets to the point where they meet your fighter, but then episode ends, cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Sorry. Episode ends, cliffhanger, they exchanged words, they're about to come to blows, and then not all the players can come to the next session. So we play the evil group, and it's a backstory episode for your fighter.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, that is honestly, this works well for like expositing backstory, expositing character relations that have happened, especially whether it be between two rival parties, a party member and an NPC, two NPCs, things like that. And it's just like, especially if it's my fighter who is very much defined by their past and having accepted the lifestyle that their past drove them into, versus your fighter who has escaped that past and is moving on.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know where else to go with this. Because it writes itself.
I do think it does. But, like, let's try and put one thing we learn in that flashback episode. Like, what do we learn about this guy that maybe not even my fighter knew about?
I say we can definitely learn, like, we could learn that maybe my fighter, like, feels bad that your fighter took the jail time and things like that. Or it could be, like, my fighter tried arguing with the criminal party to not have your fighter, get thrown in jail while the rest of them, like, went free.
Sorry, you just cut out. Hold on. Hello?
Or it could be like my fighter is just purely evil and my fighter was the one that suggested your fighter take the blame.
My computer just glitched on its internet, so I didn't get any of that.
Oh no!
But you are recording, so that'll still be there. I do have an idea myself.
Yeah.
Of, speaking of kind of remorseful about about my fighter, initially remorseful to join the criminal syndicate at all, which could be useful. Like, say we did cut the good campaign right before the battle. That could be an interesting aspect of the battle, is trying to appeal to this fighter's sense of good that may have been repressed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really like that.
So it could, that the prequel party could even be a good party with this evil fighter.
Absolutely, 100%.
Ooh. Good party gets caught doing a bad thing, or gets framed for doing a bad thing. Evil fighter learns how to break him out of prison, and then starts walking down that evil path. That's how they kind of start walking down the evil path.
Yeah.
Is they realize their skills can be very useful to certain people like that.
Absolutely.
And so maybe this, like, backstory, slightly remorseful jailbreaker fighter was developing a plan to break the good fighter out of prison.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the criminal group said, no, they knew the risk, they took the fall, they lie in that bed they made of not being good enough.
Yeah, and then the arcane archer fighter is just like, but we made the bed for them and forced them to lie in it.
Yeah. And that's another part that could go into the exchange, chasing. I really do love the idea of cutting that section off.
Yeah.
But that could then play into the next session, is the character's utter remorse and wishing they could have helped.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's an amazing idea.
Yeah. But I honestly think that's a good place to leave it, because there's a lot that you can do with that trope and these fighters, or even just one of the fighters on their own.
Yeah, I think this is a good place to seal up these jars and put them on the market. If you like the show or need any ideas, you can find us on Twitter at Worlds in Jars, or email us at worldinajar1@gmail.com. Do you have any recommendations before we go, Kyoko?
Play a Final Fantasy game. Have fun. Play a Final Fantasy game. Whether it be the 7 remake that just came out, whether it's one of the older games, OG 7, things like that. I mentioned lightning in the Paladin episode. So, yeah, pick up a Final Fantasy game. It could even be Dissidia. It could be Theatrhythm for the DS, the Final Fantasy rhythm game that I didn't know how to play when I got it at 16. Yeah.
I was gonna go with tried and true, play Dishonored.
Oh,
'Cause you could easily play. You could play a criminal fighter that has some magic powers. There's even Dishonored 2. There's an achievement for refusing powers
Ooh.
and just playing the game as a normal rogue,
Wow.
which I don't want to do because it defeats the entire appeal of Dishonored
Yeah.
for me, which is a man with great power and great responsibility, or refusing responsibility and throwing the world into chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
But also, I can add, we brought up Final Fantasy X at the beginning of the episode, and I want to say Final Fantasy X is my favorite Final Fantasy.
Ooh.
The characters are so wonderful and complex mostly. And speaking of Auron being a fighter, Auron has one of the greatest speeches I think was ever delivered in a game I played.
Ooh.
At the pivotal moment of the game.
Yeah.
Which I kind of want. I have memorized that speech, but also like play Final Fantasy so you get to see that speech for yourself. But yeah, do something good for yourself. We will see you next week.
And we'll see you guys next time. Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.
This
This episode was edited by Chris.
Yeah. Oh, go for it. Go. None.
This episode was edited by Chris at Chris Rogers VO on Twitter. Go check him out.
Yeah, we love you, Editor Chris.